yeah, if you think you're going to do it in your own strength, then you know what? Yeah, you can do it.
COVID, it's been helping people move their businesses from offline or brick and mortar to online.
Systems are more important than skills as an entrepreneur today.
It's totally okay to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
Multiple times, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. If you're a coach, speaker, or industry expert, you're in the right place for sales and marketing wisdom and insight to grow your coaching business. Now, here's your host, Income Acceleration Mentor, WendyY Bailey.
Again, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm excited to introduce you to another awesome guest. And, we're going to talk about it in just a little bit, but we've been around each other in these internet streets, as they say, for a few years. So it was a delight a couple of years ago when we got to meet face to face. Donnie Bryant is a 9-figure copywriter, and he's been in his business 17 years. And, we have a private joke we shared around that. And he has helped other businesses through his copywriting and as a marketing consultant earn over $130 million. So we've got a lot to talk about. Welcome to the show, Donnie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to hang out with you.
Yeah, you too. We were talking before we started the recording, and I asked how long you had been in your business, and you said 17 years, but 14 years before things really started to click and I gained some traction. What? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I also say 17 years, but the IRS only knows about 14. I wish the IRS knew about 10.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I did kind of the normal thing. I went to college. Actually, I didn't graduate from college. I married my wife and decided, let me go make some money. I got into retail. So I began copywriting while I was an assistant manager at Kmart. If you remember Kmart.
I do remember Kmart. Look, I'm old enough to remember Kmart. Those youngsters may not remember it, but I am.
There's still a few of them left in America, I think. But I was an assistant manager and I started copywriting. So for me, it was learning the craft, building my skills, getting some visibility online. And it took a while for that to build up. So for me, it took about maybe a little bit more than 2 years before I really made more than a couple $100 here and there on little projects. So that's what that process was like.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting to me is when people say, oh, you're an overnight success. No, my overnight success came after, 20 something years. It was not overnight. I don't think
by overnight, they mean you stayed up all night getting it.
Exactly. You, what do you call it? Blood, sweat, and bodily fluids over a long stretch of years, as my pastor would say, to get to the point where you are today. And it's that entrepreneurial journey that kind of, it doesn't go like that. It kind of zigs and zags and goes up and down, and sometimes it goes back. And
that's
the real thing about being an entrepreneur.
Yes, very much so.
When did you know that copywriting, you call yourself a marketing consultant and a direct response copywriter. So when did you know, after you had honed your craft and fine-tuned your skills, that was really copywriting was what you wanted to do and that you were good at?
It's interesting. I grew up wanting to be a writer. When I was a baby, well, I guess when I was a baby, my grandmother, she had a library of 25,000 books in her house. So I grew up around books, and I always loved reading. I used to climb the bookshelf trying to get the fun books that were a little higher up. I always loved books, and I thought I would be a writer. But again, I really didn't know how to do that. So when I went to high school and started college and didn't really know. When I discovered, well, I'll say it this way, when I was working too many hours in retail, and I had 3 kids at the time, and I said, I really need to figure out a way to make money without, giving my whole life to this job, spending 70 and sometimes 80 hours a week.
Trading time for money.
It was a lot of time for not that much money. I remember working in Kmart when there was a tornado warning. It was after the store shut down, but I had deadlines that had to be met, and the district manager did not play.
Yeah.
I remember one time he kept a guy. He said, if you don't finish this by the time I come back in the morning, you don't have a job anymore. And so when there was a deadline, we did whatever we had to do. So I didn't want to be in that environment any longer than I had to.
Yeah, sounds like you wouldn't want to be in that environment. Yeah.
That's probably the tamest of the stories that I have from Kmart. Kmart, there's probably a fine company, but I didn't have the best experience. So when I said, let me find something else that I can do, and my wife, being the genius that she is, she said, maybe you should do something with writing, because you always said you wanted to write. And it seemed like every job that I had, well, most of the jobs that I had, somehow I ended up writing stuff. Sometimes it was marketing stuff, and sometimes it was internal communications, but people found out that I could write well, and I ended up doing these things. So I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'll look into that. And I was looking around the internet, and I discovered copywriting and instantly decided that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So
Instantly.
For me, yeah, it wasn't a transition from like journalism or dramatic writing or anything like that. I saw copywriting and I said, this sounds really cool. Seems like something that I would really enjoy doing. I've done some sales, in-person sales, in my past life, and copywriting is about selling. It's about human psychology. It's about understanding and connecting with people and influencing them. And so for me, that was a really interesting field to go into, and I instantly decided that's what I want to learn how to do, and it's what I started to do. So that's one of those things that I hope you and I can talk about, the influence of language. So I know your background definitely includes that.
Yeah, the thing that I thought as you were talking is I've always had a love for writing as well. And I never was like a fiction writer. I never wanted to write poems. I never wanted to write, short stories. I never, that just wasn't where my writing was.
Okay.
I love just writing communications.
Sure.
And in my senior year of high school, I read a book called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh, with Maxwell Maltz.
Yeah. And it just turned my head inside out about how you think. Like you said, human psychology. And, years later, fast forward to 2006, I got my NLP certification. But, there's a language in everything. And for me, when people say, oh, you got a published book, what kind of novel did you write? No, I didn't write a novel. I'm a nonfiction writer, right. I'm a self-help writer. I'm a personal development writer and author, So there's a whole different thing around that. I understand because of my background and, starting when I was a senior in high school and read, Psycho-Cybernetics and up to all of my training in NLP, I've learned that everything has a language. Everything has a language. Definitely. What do you see as the language of copywriting?
Well, let me connect on the NLP thing. I never studied NLP directly, but I got into Tony Robbins in middle school. I think I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, you were before your time, but yeah.
And I didn't realize it until many years later. And I begin to think back, oh, I've been building towards this in little ways, maybe for my whole life, which is pretty cool. And I do feel like I'm called to this. It's not just a career or a profession. It's what I'm here for, my purpose. In some way, it's kind of taken different forms over time. The language of copywriting is really finding, this is how I see it. It's finding ways to connect the person you want to influence, connecting their dreams and desires, their fears and frustrations, and their pains and their problems, connecting that to whatever it is that you're using to deliver on those things. So if they have a frustration that you can help them get rid of, the language of that is understanding how they, in their own mind, view those things, in their own heart, how they feel about those things, and then using words to connect those feelings and the outcome that they want with the product or service that you're selling.
Yeah. The thing I love so much about what you said is it's understanding not just their fears and their problems, it's also understanding their dreams and their aspirations.
Right.
I think the dreams and the aspiration part gets lost in the marketplace that we're in. People who are out there writing and trying to sell stuff are really focused on pain points. Focus
Yes.
on those pain points.
Yes.
But if you're not tapped into the dreams and aspirations, you're going to make them feel really bad about where they are without offering value through your solution.
That's right. And really, when someone hurts, they can become paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
If you're tapping into fear, that one of the options that they have is to just freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Fight, flight, freeze. They could do any of those things, and really none of them convert to buying or helping. If I want to help you, I think fear is okay to get attention sometimes, but you really don't want to stay there for long because you're not in the buying mental mode if you're scared. You need to have a level of comfort, a level of trust in order to take out your wallet and buy something. So you're right. It's such a great point. We need to expand beyond our thinking in that way. Pain points are good to understand, but it's not always what the language needs to be. Actually, oftentimes, that's not what your language needs to be.
Yeah. It's interesting. You and I were talking before we started the recording, and I think the marketplace has shifted a lot, and I see that people in the marketplace understand pain points, but again, they're missing that dreams and aspirational language that supports people.
Absolutely.
And, then therein lies where you can tap into the value of what you offer to speak to dreams and aspirations. You can't necessarily do all of that in pain points. It's you want to let people know you get them, but you said something really valuable in that, it really is about building that bond of trust when you're writing to someone, when you're speaking to them about their fears, but also about their dreams and aspirations. And then you can connect all of the dots for them, and they don't have to be paralyzed. They don't have to feel that paralysis, and they can actually take action. And that's ultimately what we want them to do, is take action.
Right. And it's such a great point, because I think, especially you mentioned the shift in the market. I think there's a lot of awareness of just the idea of pain points, because that's what marketers tell you to do. Understand pain points, hit their pain points, turn the screws on them until they they have to take action. And then there's a lot of people who, they don't know any better. That's what they've heard, or the books they read, the course they've taken, without really understanding how people take action. They do take action to get out of pain, but they have to have somewhere to go that they want to go. And just hurting someone to hurt them doesn't make sense.
Paint that picture for them.
Yeah.
It's sort of to me, the metaphor. You've got to paint the picture so that they see it. They see themselves in it, in the dreams, aspiration, in the value of what your product or service is that you offer.
Right.
They're not going to get that just by you painting the fear.
No, and painting the picture is the perfect analogy, the perfect metaphor, because really, Jim Camp, I got this from Jim Camp. He said, without vision, there's no decision.
And I love that. Say that again.
Without vision, there's no decision.
Yeah.
So we move towards the things that we want. And I know we also move away from things that we don't want, but we want to move people in a particular direction, and we want them to be, again, in the right frame of mind to take positive action, because really what we want to do is help them improve their life in whatever way we serve them. I can't help you, with your back pains. That's a chiropractor's job. I'm not going to help you in that way.
Yeah. But
I can help you clarify your message. I can help you, make more money with your emails, for example. Right? You can help people accelerate their income. We want, rather than say, are you broke? Are you tired of being broke? Are you frustrated that you can't buy your kids, Air Jordans? That's not really the message.
No. You said that and I went,
It doesn't feel good for anybody, really.
No. And I think that there's a common sense way that most people look at language and what they're reading when they're, consuming information and looking for some sort of assistance, support, and help that isn't about hitting the nail on the head to the point that you make them feel bad about where they are. You've got to remind them of what's possible so that they can see their way out of that. It's funny. I don't know if I shared this with you or if you knew this before. I actually teach copywriting within the programs that I offer. And
I didn't know that.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah. I call it emotional promotional copy, because you've got to hit the feelings, but you've got to have the I love without no vision, there's no decision. You got to help them see themselves into the decision, into the vision
Right.
of the decision to move forward. You know, it's funny to me that you said, yeah, I did know that. Have you seen some stuff I've written? Like, I didn't plan to ask this question.
Yeah.
You got me going. Have you seen some stuff I've written? Was I on the money? Was I on target?
It's really interesting that you asked. I can't pinpoint a moment when I saw something. I know you didn't explicitly tell me, but I must have seen some copy or watched a conversation you had and you were talking about it. And I said, oh, see? Yeah, no, I think obviously you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing. So yeah,
Some days.
Almost every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when I started learning neurolinguistic programming, we keep talking about it, but that's what NLP is. When I started learning that, that's when I became very clear about the language of anything and everything, you know. And NLP really is about language, but to your point, it's also about human psychology, how people think, what motivates us, what influences us. You know, certain types of representational styles is what they call it, but I call it sensory learning styles. That's my language for it, because it really is about language that touches all of the senses. And that's when you can really build rapport and trust with people and move on from there. You know, I love that even though you're not necessarily NLP, you understand the whole psychology of language and what that means to motivate people and move people. How do you become a 9-figure direct response copywriter? I just got to ask that's like, wow, 9 figures.
Well, the less exciting answer, but is true, is working with great companies. It's just, I think it's like anything else. If you really want to achieve great results, the people you surround yourself really matter. And I've worked with some companies who do pretty big numbers. And I've also impacted their top line a lot. I've had clients that we tripled their revenue, and companies up to 7, multiplying multiple 7 what their revenue was. So those are big income or big increases in revenue. But it starts with, you know, not that there's anything wrong with selling lemonade on the side of the road. I'm not going to probably get that business to $1 million or $10 million dollars.
Right.
You have to work with people who are in the market and who are aggressively going after more people, helping people, and selling at a higher ticket for the most part. Others, they have higher ticket in the mix. Not everything they sell is necessarily high ticket, but there's high ticket in the mix. So I believe I've done a lot of great work, but a lot of it is client selection.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because if you're focused on the people with the lemonade stand, you already know you're not going to get them to $1 million. So why focus there? Not that there's anything wrong with helping the little guy.
Right.
I love that you're like client selection, because a lot of what I talk to my clients about is their ideal client. And too many people are going after the lemonade stand folks. Too many coaches are looking at the lemonade stand folks. Oh, I want to help people. Yeah, but don't you want to live indoors with running water? And you know what I mean? A partner of mine used to say that, and it's so true. If you focus on the wrong client, you're going to be struggling financially, because you're trying to figure out how to help these people that are not at a place where you can help them and they can help you.
Right. It doesn't even make sense to go after clients like that in many cases, even though your heart may go out to them. They can't even benefit from what you bring to them fully, because they're not doing much. They're sitting on the side of the road being cute, have a sign, good lemonade, and hopefully good word of mouth, good location. But you're not gonna get them on billboards. They don't even want that. No. That's not what their dreams and aspirations are. They just want to make, you know, some weekend have fun money or whatever it is that they're doing. And so you have to align yourself with businesses who can value what you do, who can pay you for the value that you bring. And then you can reciprocate with extraordinary value where everybody wins. And it just doesn't make sense for everybody.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about before we again started the recording is you asked me, how do I deal with the coach who is sort of repulsed by sales? And I'm like, it's a mindset thing, because it really isn't about what they think of sales. It's them being able to say, wow, I offer something of value. And because I offer something of value, I have a responsibility to get it out there to people. In addition to that responsibility, to get it out there. I deserve to be compensated for what I'm offering in the way of value. That second piece is where most coaches struggle. That second piece. And I know you've seen it a lot with the people that you've worked with as well.
Sure. Well, let me ask you, I'll put you on the spot. Well, when you see people that struggle with that, what do you think is behind that thinking that makes them limit their own feeling of worthiness to charge, prices that they deserve?
I think it's, I'm not enough. I think it's totally, I'm not enough. I think at the heart of everything, I remember Oprah did an interview and she was talking about all the people, dignitaries and presidents and celebrities that she interviewed over the years that she had her daytime talk show. The thing that every single one of them would say once the camera stopped rolling, they would look at her and they would say, was that okay? And what she came to understand, like you wouldn't even imagine that, right? But
Sure.
what she came to understand from that was everybody wants the sense that they're enough. They want validation from somewhere. And when people don't get it, they question their ability to offer something that is of value. So it is a mindset shift. You know what I mean? They come to me, coaches come to me and they may have been able to reach a certain level, but they can't go beyond that level because it requires a new level of thinking, a new height in their thinking that they don't have. So we spend a lot of time working on mindset. Years ago, I was running this program and one of my attendees kept saying, why do we keep talking about mindset? My mindset is just fine and I'm doing blah, blah, blah. And I said, trust me, you're going to be okay. And she went through the program and, I know there was still in the back of her mind something about why is she teaching this mindset stuff? Because I came to her for marketing and sales and, business operations, and she's teaching me mindset. And it was funny, about a year and a half later, she was in another program and she sent me an inbox on Messenger and she said, now I get it. Now I get it. You know what I mean? I'm okay that she didn't get it with me as long as she got it. Because in order to increase your value, you've got to have the right mindset. One of my favorite coaches is Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. And he's got a book. I know I'm not going to say the name right, but the gist of it is what got you here won't get you there. So even if you have a pretty positive mindset about where you are, you can be real gung-ho and everything. But if something challenges that, then it's not strong enough. So you've always got to be in the business of strengthening your way of thinking, your perspective about who you are, whose you are, what you show up as in the marketplace, and the value that you bring your clients. That's something that I think a lot of people, not just coaches, miss when it comes to the copywriting, the language, the how they show up, all of that is definitely part of it.
That's really profound. I know, as they say, there's levels to this. There's levels to mindset. Mm-hmm. And we all have experienced it, right? Even if you don't think about it in this way, but you can be super confident in your space when you step into a space that you're not comfortable in. Most of us, or many of us, don't carry the same level of confidence because I'm not 100% sure I'm enough here. Like I know what I'm doing over there. But in this room, in this space with these people, or if I'm now with Oprah Winfrey, she's talked with Barack Obama, she's talked with Will Smith, she's talked with all these people.
Yeah.
Is she going to be satisfied with what I bring? Mm-hmm. So you're right. You have to continually level up. That's in psycho-cybernetics too, is right, where our identity or how we see ourselves really impacts everything every decision that we make is impacted by who we believe we are, how we see ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That was such a profound reading for me as a 17-year-old.
You were ahead of your time
even
too.
Today, even today, I look back and I go, I was 17 years old reading that kind of stuff. I don't even remember how it came to me. Actually, I said that, but I think I do. I actually, at that age, if you can imagine, I was recruited into Amway.
I believe that.
That was one of the books that we were told to read because it's, definitely leveling up your mindset.
Yeah.
Read it. Isn't that funny?
It makes a lot of sense. Amway has its pluses, and not everything about the company is great. But one thing
they're Shackley now. They don't call themselves Amway.
Yes, you're right about that.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely invest in personal, or help you invest in personal development, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because, just to kind of wrap up this part of our conversation, if you are serious about elevating to another level in your copywriting, in your what kind of programs and services and products you put into the marketplace, you've got to also elevate your mindset as well.
It's true.
I'm glad, you and I really are in sync on that.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to share about your background or your experience as a 9-figure copywriter? That I'm just so fascinated by that. I am. Whenever I say it, I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
It's a big number. It's funny. I feel now, not in this conversation, but over the last couple of months, I put it out because I was really excited. I was excited for my own thinking. Like you have goals in your mind. I want to be able to be among some of the top performers, and I hit that number, and I was so happy about it, and I think I put it on my profiles and stuff. And then a couple months later, and it was kind of going back to what we were saying before, is some people, when they ask copywriters, other copywriters, how do I get to 9 figures? And you can tell inherent in the question or embedded in the question is, are my skills enough? Am I the kind of person who can do this? And the answer to the question is, of course you are, but the secrets aren't all in skills. Like I said, a lot of it is client selection. So it's not that I'm 100 times smarter than the next person, but I've learned from working with some of them lemonade stand clients. It can be a fun gig. I got my best friend in life was a client who I think he paid me $300 for the gig, but we began a great friendship. We're still best friends to this day. And so it's not that all those things are bad, but you don't get to $100 million or $130 million in those smaller steps. You got to take bigger steps. So anyway, I kind of feel when I say 9 figures, like I don't want to misrepresent the reality of what's going on. I also don't want to make anyone feel bad. But I was celebrating because for me, it's like I'm getting where I was hoping to get, what I dreamed of in the early days. Can I be as successful as some of these other big name guys? And I'm getting there. So anyway, following our final thoughts on that, I think we probably covered everything. I think just to reiterate what we kind of mentioned before, it's all about understanding. It's not even so much about you. Mm-hmm. The most important things in our communication is about understanding the person you're talking to. That's verbally or that's written or wherever you use your words. If you want to influence somebody, you want to start with who they are, who they see themselves as, and what they want to accomplish. And then you kind of fit your message to them. And that's not being out of integrity. It's just customizing your message so that you can have the greatest possible influence. Yeah. A lot of times, entrepreneurs, they get so wrapped up in their own thing, and they want to talk about how cool I am.
Yeah,
and that matters, but it's not primary. It only matters after you got the other person interested because you're talking to them. They know that your message is for them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'll say this, and then we'll go for a break. When I first started my business, I was so excited. I put up my first website. It was, something that I created with the logo and the colors and the message and everything. And I had a friend of mine look at it to tell me what he thought about it. He was like, well, it's a good looking site. It's pretty. And, you got some really pretty language and everything, but it's all about you. When people come to your website, they don't know what you can do for them because you've written it from the standpoint of look at how amazing and great I am. And I love that connects directly with what you said. It's not about you. It's the what's in it for me from the client's perspective. Right. That they're looking for when they read something, when they see something, watch a video or whatever it is, listen to something on your website. And I love that words allow you to do all of that very well.
Right. That's the best thing we can do with our words, really, just to connect with other people. And of course, we all are in our own situations. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the best way to fit that puzzle piece is to speak to that situation that they're in. Now they're open to hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to go through our profitable wisdom segment. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Thacker, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, Hi, I am Marquessa Petway, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert, and you've tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Spread some cred dust by liking, commenting, reviewing, and subscribing now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Everyone, and welcome back. I'm having an amazing conversation with Donnie Bryant, who is a direct response copywriter and marketing consultant. We talked a lot about the language of marketing, the language of selling, identifying an ideal client. That's what I call it, making sure you're talking to the right client, making sure you understand the pain as well as the dreams and aspirations. We talked about a lot of stuff. If you missed it, go back and watch it again or listen to it again. It was good stuff. So now let's get into our profitable wisdom segment. It's the segment where I always ask the same questions of every guest, because these answers that they give are going to be so enlightening and inspiring to you. So here's the first question. Who's had the greatest influence on you in your life and business?
It may not be a surprise. It's my wife.
I knew that. I knew that's what it was going to be, who it was going to be.
I think about this a lot. I want people to know my wife is everything to me, and not just because she's my wife, but she's the smartest person that I know. She's right about everything. I always tell other people, and maybe everyone's spouse isn't like mine, but just always listen to your wife. Why? They tend to be right, and mine almost always is. And again, she pointed me in the direction. Hey, why don't you get into writing? You said you wanted to do it. This is something that you should try. And she's supported me. She looks at things from a different perspective. If I have issues and I'm not sure how to deal with them, she offers a different perspective, and she's always encouraging. So in those times when I'm frustrated or I'm, I've had it up to here with, whatever's going on, she can talk me down. So she's influenced me in life, but also she's really made it possible for me to be a copywriter and to be successful at it.
Yeah. What is the adage, behind every great man is a great woman?
Well, I don't know if I'm a great man, by the way, but
well, let me change the word from great to successful, and then change man to copywriter. Behind a successful copywriter is a great woman. How's that?
I think that's perfect. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says that.
Yeah. And the thing that I love is, you said, I don't know if everybody's like my wife is with me. Everybody's wife is the same with them, but it's made a difference for me. I hope that there are some guys that are listening and watching, and they're like, maybe I do need to consider what my wife has said about this. Maybe I do need to pay attention to when she tells me that. And I hope there are some women who are going, well, I need to share my perspective a little bit more if it's going to support and help me. This past weekend, I went to see the American Society of Magical Negroes.
I really want to see that. I want to hear what you're about to say.
Well, the premise is, we as Black folk tend to work hard at making sure white folk are comfortable, right? And so this American Society of Negroes is, goes back to the times of slavery, when white men really needed us to encourage and support them. And so we did that. And the story goes that there's a guy that's recruited into the society, and he's always apologizing. He's always, stepping aside or moving away to make sure, white people are comfortable and everything. And he goes to work at this company because there's a white man who needs his encouragement and his support. And he ends up falling in love with the love interest, loosely, of the guy who he's there to support. And then the guy does something like, well, you're only here because you're Black and we need the diversity. And all of a sudden he changes. I'm telling the whole movie. So spoilers, if y'all don't want to see it, listen to me. But if you plan to see it, don't listen to me. But, it causes him to say, I've been apologizing and trying to make you comfortable my whole life. And I'm kind of tired of it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And if that means that I, have to go and be banished into a world where what I say doesn't matter anymore, then I'm willing to do that. And he ends up not being banished because he learns that that's not what he's supposed to do, is make white men and white women comfortable. His thing is to be himself, and sometimes white people will be uncomfortable, and that's not his responsibility. At the end of the movie, my son and I were like this, yes, yes, you know. But what you said that made me think about it is, you know, looking at your life and making sure that you are aware of the people who really are supportive and contributing to you is a big thing.
Yeah,
at the end of the movie, the girl, the love interest, he and the love interest gets together, and she's in an organization called So Swag, Society of Sisters, women who are supportive and something to their husbands. That's what it's an acronym. It's what it is. But the thing that we miss, I think, sometimes as women is we miss the opportunity to be supportive, but not nag. You know what I mean? To be listen patiently and contribute without taking over or expecting it to be a certain way. I dare say submissive, because I know that opens up a whole can of worms for people. But I think, you know, it really is important to know how you work together in a partnership like a marriage. You know?
You know, the Bible really says we should submit to each other. So it's not, it's mutual submission.
It is.
So we don't have to get bent out of shape about it. I do understand, but we can submit to each other, and it's better that way.
Yeah.
And let me say this, you're right. I think, have confidence that your contribution matters. And nagging is really in perception, right? If someone's trying to help you and you see it as helping, they're just really persistent in trying to help me. If you look at it as, why is she bothering me about that? Or why is he bugging me about that? Then it feels like nagging. So we should be working on ourselves too. How do we receive the message?
You heard Donnie Bryant. You heard Donnie Bryant. He's spoken. I love it. I love it. So what's the best business advice you've ever received, Donnie?
I don't remember who told me this, but pardon me. You should spend 50% of your time promoting yourself, not just only delivering on client work that you have. Now, 50% may be fluid, and at different times in your career, it will be different. But especially in those days when you're really trying to get to the level that you want, it's important for you to remember nobody owes you anything, and nobody knows what you can do for them until you tell them, until you show them. And so it's good for us to just to remember, you gotta market yourself, you gotta promote yourself, you gotta network and get out there. And for me, I made the mistake at one point in my career, 2013, something like this, where I thought I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that anymore.
Wow, it never stops. Yeah.
It resulted in disaster for me. And then you learn a lesson. It's really serious. And at no point should you take for granted that clients are coming or that contracts will live forever, because they don't. Have you ever had a contract that lived forever? I've had some that last for a long time, but they don't last forever. And at any time, something can happen. So we need to be proactive in that way. That was the best advice given to me. And I've made that mistake one time, or during one period of time. I haven't.
Won't make it anymore.
I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. So what's been your largest single sale? What was the amount and the circumstances? And what did you do to celebrate?
The largest one single sale was $50,000. This was a firm doing a pretty big numbers, and so interesting. The CEO, the founder and CEO, connected with me on LinkedIn because of a shared connection that we had, and he couldn't hire this guy, so he asked me, and I'm somewhat local to him. He said, "Should we be talking?" Sure, we should be talking. And he was doing like a whole brand overhaul for his business, and so we discussed the terms, and I gave him a number. He wasn't super happy with it at first, or he didn't seem to be happy with it, but he paid it.
Yeah.
And we did some really, really great work and had a good relationship.
So
how did I celebrate is the question. I think I was I felt really good about it. I don't know if we went out and did anything, but for me, especially at that point in my career, a $50,000 sale felt like you know,
I can
it
breathe
legitimizes what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
People are willing if you bring sufficient value to the person who can benefit from that. Because again, the lemonade stand doesn't have a website.
Right. That's right.
They don't have a really a brand that they care to maintain. So it's working with the right clients. But for me, it's like, yes, now I know what's possible, and I know it's possible for me. And that just, it really excited me and helped me to maybe level up my own thinking, what I'm capable of doing in the future. Now, again, that was the biggest one that I've had, but most of the most of the sales that I have now are technically the relationships I have are ongoing. So they don't pay me lump sums at one time.
Right.
They're
It's
installments.
ongoing over a period of time. The question I had when you said that was, once they said, okay, even though the guy kind of balked at it, he said, okay, he paid it. Did you go, wow, I should have added a zero, or I should have added a couple of thousand more? That's typically what happens.
I could have got 50% more for sure. Especially when I found out, this is an embarrassment, when I found out how much he paid the web developer.
You definitely thought you undercharged at that
I said, dang. I definitely could have got 50% more, maybe 100% more. For me, it was a big win, but I tried not to let myself get discouraged by that. I got a number that was great for me, and the web developer probably had a team and they're happy with what they got. It's a win, and you just learn, maybe the ceilings are a little higher than you think.
Yeah. The thing that when you say that first big amount and somebody pays it, you're like,
right. Like it didn't take a week. More. You didn't take a week to decide.
Yeah.
It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah. I had a guy that came to me for individual coaching, and I gave him a number, and he was like, okay. And then he was like, well, let me show you what I paid my last coach. And it was 10 times more than what I had quoted. Yeah, I was like, and then he said something dismissive like, you get what you pay for. And I thought, wow, I won't ever do that again. And I haven't since. I have people that kind of go, ooh, that's a little steep. But if they want to work with me, they get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to know where people are.
That's exactly right. And that's part of a mindset targeting thing too. I think that's why I asked you, how do you deal with coaches who are kind of feel ucky about selling? Like in some cases, it may be easier just to not get into the engagement with them. At least maybe not for you, but for me, it's like, if you don't get it, how much time do I want to spend trying to convince you of it? I don't want to spend that much time. If you don't get it, I'll just move on to someone else who does.
Yeah.
In many cases.
Yeah. The thing that I do, and I sort of strike a balance between they're not where they need to be to work with me kind of thing, and going, but I'm a coach. It is my responsibility to bring them up in their thinking.
Makes perfect sense.
Most of the time it works. There've been a few that I've kind of been like, I am still pushing them uphill, and I just can no longer push them uphill. But that doesn't happen as often as getting somebody and they go, wow, I really see my value in a different way than I did before. That's probably 85-90% of the time, which is why I continue to work with coaches. But the other 10%, 5 or 10%, no.
That's a spectacular success rate though. 90%. I bet most coaches don't come near that number.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Let me say this also. Maybe that's why I'm not a coach. But if you get people to that point of seeing themselves in a new way and understanding their value, there's really not a number you could put on that where they had paid too much. If they paid you $100,000,
lifetime value.
It's millions.
Yeah. I have clients come back to me, and I don't know if you remember, I'm known for I charge for that.
Yes.
that phrase. And I have people come back to me all the time and say, oh, well, I was trying to negotiate this particular deal and you came to mind, and I was like, I charge for that. And next thing I know, I was charging at a level that I really felt comfortable in, and I really owe that to you. That's what I call lifetime value. If I can make that kind of impact, and years later, they're coming back and saying, I remember I charged for that, I've done my job and then some.
It changes the course of your business when you begin to think and behave in that way. It changes your clients also. Fees are filters. So if you set your fee at a certain level, it attracts the right people and detracts some of the wrong kind of people, or repels them. And by wrong meaning they're just not a good fit for you right now. Maybe they'll be a good fit for you later. And it sets an expectation when they show up. You know, I paid $99 for this. They're not really bought into that. You paid $19,000 for that. It's a different feel. They show up differently. They expect something different. And they're going to get more value from it because they see it differently.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you and I met at a colleague of mine's event, and, you know, she is the queen of high ticket, high value, you know, charge more than you think you're supposed to charge kind of thing. Yes. And, you know, the thing that I learned as I walked away from that conference was I was at a different level in terms of my mindset, and I had to elevate my mindset. Even though I thought I was good, I knew I could be better. You know what I mean?
Always
I
levels.
knew that I needed to elevate in a big way. Made a big difference for me and my business as well. So
it was a powerful conference.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it good?
It really was.
Yeah. I'm excited about the next one coming up. I saw some of the preliminary, you know, the early promotions.
Yes. It's probably going to be an even higher level of
of course, you know, because she's always elevating, for sure. She is always elevating. So what has helped you move through those times, Donnie, when you thought of giving up? You know, I know, like I said before, that zig, that zag, that up and down, that we all want to quit at different times in our business. So what helps you move through those times?
I quit once a week.
Yeah, exactly. Some weeks are like that, you know.
You know, it's usually temporary. For me, there's two things. Number one, I remember this was some years ago too, where I really wanted, like, not just wanted to quit. I said, I'm done with this. I'm gonna get a job, and I don't care. And it was probably 3 weeks before I found myself writing stuff, and I didn't even have clients. I want to write, and for me to remember, this is who I am, helping people. I might as well be helping people. So I'm going to express myself with language, with writing. I like to teach. I like to do those things. And it makes sense for me to apply it into a business situation. So for me, the two things are remembering this is who I am. In some way, writing and influencing through language is part of my DNA. And then secondly, you know, I look at the kids. They hungry.
Yeah. You don't have small kids anymore, though, do you?
No, they're not. They're far from small.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Do you have any adult children as well?
My daughters will be 21 in April, so this will be after this airs, but they'll be 21. And then my oldest son will be 18 in November, and my youngest is 13 now, and he wears my clothes.
Yeah, wow, he's a big kid.
He's a big one.
He's a big kid. Yeah. Yeah, it makes a difference when you know someone's looking to you to feed them. You know, that's part of what I heard is remembering that.
It's really interesting. My older kids, they were here during some of the tough times. Mm-hmm. And the youngest one, he doesn't really remember struggle. And so he doesn't think. He's like, I want this. And he doesn't. For him, it's like, no, let's do it, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no reason why I shouldn't.
Money. Let's go, Dad. Yeah.
He's like, why don't we have a Bentley? Like, well, I'm not on the Bentley level yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let me just have one out there. But so we had to remind him that you can't have everything that you want. But in his mind, like, there's not that limit that for me growing up, you kind of assume that you're gonna not have much, and you just dream of the day when you can buy things because you want to buy them, and you work hard towards it and you get there. My son doesn't really have a remembrance of times when you couldn't just get whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Some of that is generational too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, some of that is generational. That's another conversation for another time for sure. And what's your greatest personal accomplishment outside of your business?
See, I'm going to say this. For me, I've been married 23 years now. Mm-hmm. That's an accomplishment in this day and age. It does, but for me, like, again, because of who my wife is, she makes it easy for me. Maybe her biggest accomplishment is staying married to me. So I would say that we built a really great family. We have a great life. Nothing's perfect, right? But we understand each other, and we fight together. We build together. We're on missions together. So, you know, for me, it's like, this is the life that I've been dreaming of for my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, my parents got divorced. I didn't have that great home. Not that it was bad, but you know, we didn't have the unity.
It was broken still, you know.
Right.
It's still broken, so I get it.
The emotional distress that causes. I have 2 siblings. You know, there's a lot of that stuff, and then trying to bounce between people. I never wanted that, and we haven't had to do that, and I'm so thankful that, you know, we've been able to build this life, and it's what we hoped for and what we intentionally built. My wife has a degree. My wife has a degree, and I try to make sure she doesn't work if she doesn't want to.
Okay.
For most of our marriage, she hasn't had to. So she could be home raising the kids, which is what she wanted to do, what we wanted to do, traditional values. And now she can do whatever she wants in terms of, you know, if she wants to be home, she can be home. She wants to work, which is what she's doing now. She can be at work. But we wanted to make it so she didn't have to be there. So sometimes that meant me working 80 hours a week at Kmart and whatever it took. And I'm just thankful again that we've been able to make it.
It's funny because I knew that's what you were going to say before you said it. and it's been around you, not a long time, but a short time. Even before you answered the question about who's had the greatest influence, I knew you were going to say your wife, and then personal accomplishment. I knew you were going to say your marriage and your family, because that's just who you are. Like, you don't intend to wear it like a badge of honor, but it is so ingrained in who you are and everything that you do, Donnie. I just knew that's what you were going to say.
It means a lot for you to say that. It's what I hope that people get that from me. Again, not to make anybody feel less than, but I want people to know I value my family. I honor my wife. I love the life that we built. I have a shirt that it says, "I love my wife." And a lot of times older guys will see it and say, "Your wife must have made you wear it." No, I bought the shirt for me.
Yeah.
Because I love her.
Because I believe it.
Yeah, right. This is for me. She has one that says, "I love my husband," which of course everybody believes that.
Yeah.
Emotional. No, I love my wife. I do, and I want everybody to know. So I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. You're
welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, I'd love to hear you kind of circle the wagons and tell us the thought that you want people to walk away from our conversation with. Sound good?
It does.
Okay, we'll be right back. Being a member of a business mastermind can lead to exponential growth in your coaching business and in your bottom line. But how do you know if the mastermind is right for you? The right mastermind offers an opportunity for you to discover new growth insights and proven business strategies while putting them into practice with the right tools to grow and scale your coaching business. The right mastermind connects you to other high-achieving coaches so you can partner and collaborate. The right mastermind guides your efforts to grow and scale your coaching business. In just a few days, I'm hosting an information call so you can discover how to reserve your seat in the Profitable Coaches Mastermind. You can get all the details at profitablecoachesmastermind.com. You're invited to join this group networking and strategy call, and it's absolutely free. And so is the mastermind. That's right, the Profitable Coaching Mastermind is a high-value complementary opportunity for you to discover how to grow your coaching business. It's also a hands-on workshop designed to offer strategy to scale your coaching business. It's also an activation session with implementation tools you can use to grow and scale your coaching business. That's right, the Profitable Coaching Mastermind is totally complimentary. So save your spot so you can discover how to join the mastermind. This is not a sales call. Nothing will be sold. There will be no selling. There will be no offer. It is an opportunity, so save your spot. This is your opportunity for a collaborative interview, and you get to ask questions and get answers. Hi, Income Acceleration Mentor WendyY Bailey here, and I'm so excited about the Profitable Coaches Mastermind. The information call is designed to give you a little bit more information about it and for you to sort of decide if it's the right time for you at this point. Remember, the information call is complimentary, and so is the mastermind. I'm so excited about it because I got to tell you, I have pulled 3 key pieces out of my body of work We're going to talk in the mastermind about predictable coaching income. We're going to talk about business operations. And we're also going to talk about how you put your productivity into overdrive to create the sustainability in your coaching business. So be sure to sign up for the information call. I'm going to give you all the skinny when we meet. And I hope to see you in the mastermind as well. See you then.
Hi, I'm Tim Fitzpatrick, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Donnie Bryant, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Okay, welcome back. I've just been having a really great conversation with Donnie Bryant, who is a 9-figure copywriter, direct response copywriter, marketing consultant, husband, family man, accomplished family man. And, we talked about a lot of different things, Donnie. If there's one thought you want our viewers and listeners to walk away from our conversation with, what would be that one thought?
You're going to love this because it ties into what you and I were talking about earlier, and we both are passionate about it. It's that your words have power. Mm-hmm. And we shouldn't take them lightly, take them for granted, and shouldn't flippantly use them. We really need to put faith in our ability to influence people and not take that lightly. So that's in your messaging, on your website or your emails or on social media. That's in the conversations you have one-on-one or in groups. You really do influence people with your words. And so we want to take them seriously and believe in the power that they have. And you really create your reality with your words to an extent that we don't fully understand. Yeah. So I just want to encourage everyone, take thought in the words that you let come out of your mouth. Be intentional about those things. And then also be optimistic about what you can do with your words and continually try to improve your communication skills and your influence skills. And you won't regret it.
Yeah, I love that, Donnie. I really, really do. And I know that you are going to share your website. We're going to put the link in the comments in the show notes so people will be able to access your website and kind of see and learn more about you. Donnie, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming in and having this conversation with me. I'd say it was profitable.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation, and I think profitable for sure for me.
Awesome. So be sure to join the after party at profitablecoachingsociety.com. We'll see you for another amazing episode in the future. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. Be sure to join us at the after party at www.profitablecoachingsociety.com. We'll see you next time for more sales and marketing wisdom and insight from WendyY and her amazing guests. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new episodes are posted.